guys, my name is Monica, and welcome back to my channel. So yeah, you could say that I've kind of taken like a long break from the last video to this video. I'm so sorry about that, but I hope me kind of coming back. I have no promises on when I'm gonna post again, but I know for sure that this video will, not just as a title of this video, which is what I'm saying is my testimony, but I hope in turn that this video will inspire you, will entertain you, but most of all, will bring you closer to God. Even if not, you know what I mean? And well, I plan on doing this video like way in advance, but I think at the end of the day, why not now? So, yeah. And I do want to say that most of my videos are more like Englishy, more just in a place of like orderly and alignment. And don't get me wrong, it still will be there, but it's more authentic and real than just me saying so many vocab words or anything like that, because due to the fact that this video is kind of more of a testimony, and of course, but it's like my exposure type of video, I'm saying this in a way that's like less unplanned, and I hope that in sense it will make sense, you know? And by the way, I'll be looking at my notes, so if I ever look down, just please know that. So yeah, let's get started. So to start off with is that I am a daughter of immigrant parents who came from the Philippines to America. And as most people, of course not all, knows that the Philippines is mostly consisted of 95% Catholic. And, well, not everything, but you know what I mean. And during that time of my life, the ways that I've grown up, I've been Catholic my whole life, but I haven't really been Catholic. I've just kind of did it just because it was there, you know what I mean? And now here I am, telling my story. So, at that time, I guess in the beginning, when I first had a glimpse of Catholicism was back when I was very younger. I guess I'll put this on parts. So in American high schools, it's K through 12, which starts from kindergarten up to the grades up until 12th grade, which, you know, and then after that it's college. And K through 3rd, I was in my public school system in my town where it goes up to K to 12. But for a period of time, I've only been there just a couple of times, which I'll explain in the video. I'll explain more. But K through 3rd, at that time, I've had limited amounts of religion in a way. I mean, I've taken like Sunday school and Sunday going to church and just going to events like what all Catholic kids have to do, like baptism and confirmation, and well, that's later, but during that time I've done what every Catholic kid had to do at that time, and I've learned the knowledge of Jesus and everything like that, and the ways that he impacted in our world, those in a way that a kid can. And in that time I've, you know, took it for what it is, and I've just been obedient in a way that I was taught to. So, but in the glimpses of moments that had genuine moments, I think it was back in 3rd grade, and I was friends with a group of girls, and in that time, I was in lunch with them, and I ended up, you know, saying, hey, let's, like, I don't know, I think it's because it's due to the habit of me being in a Catholic family, I just learned how to pray really quickly. And because I did this a lot, some of my friends told me, like, hey, how do you do that? I'd be like, oh, okay. And so I just taught them, like, how to pray. And I think that was, like, one of the most, well, not the most, but one of the first genuine moments that I ever had with Jesus, in a way that, like, was from my own doing, you know? And because of that, I'll always remember that forever. And, okay. And then, because of everything and the situations that had to happen, I had to go to a Catholic school, which is near my area, but it's just a little bit farther. And it was 4th through 8th grade. And it was just basically part of elementary and middle school. And basically at that time, I've always been curious of the way of Jesus and everything like that. But it wasn't like the same, you know what I mean? Not the same, but it wasn't like to the point of like burning passion, which of course in that time it just makes sense. And I've learned the ways of God through religion class, and I've taken events like confirmation too, which is the whole thing, and I've learned to be a good, obedient girl, which kind of goes hand in hand with just growing up and the school system that I went to. And because of that, I've learned the ways of everything, and also I was an altar server, so which is like you get to help with mass, which is like a church service. And in that time, I've thought about so many things, and I've learned about so many things about God and everything like that. And it was great and it was informational, but it wasn't really, like I told you in the beginning, it wasn't really true in a way that it was genuine to me. I just did it because I kind of had to. And I guess in some ways, since I was in a Catholic school, I appreciate it for what it was, and I will always thank everyone to bring me there. But it wasn't really, not really, clicking for me in a way that, I hoped. It was, and I just kind of just did it just because. I don't mean to repeat this whole thing, but you know what I mean. And yeah, and because of that, when 9th grade to 12th grade came, high school, it was, a lot of things happened, but because of everything, COVID, everything like that, it just went off the rocker. And one thing specifically that I have to tell is that, because of high school, since I was a garden class 2024, 2020, my 9th grade year was a mess. I was isolated, I wanted friends, all those type of things. My family got affected because of it, and it was a lot. And especially when I came back from that to my public school, which when I told you guys before, it was K through 12, I ended up, being like, oh, you know what I mean? It wasn't, a lot of things happen, and I'm just because of being in public school and everything, I just kind of went spiral, and I just didn't know where to go from there. And because of that, I had a lot of focuses on things, and while some of it were correct, some of it was just due to me being a teenager and everything, it made sense, but it wasn't good focuses. So this is the part where I'll kind of have triggers here and there, and I'll put them up and everything. I'll be talking about porn, masturbation, suicide, and anything of those notions. So yeah. So the first thing that I was kind of dealing with, which I'll get to the most biggest one kind of at the end, not the end of the video, but end of this section. I put my lot of attention on I cannot say this, on boys, and I wasn't I was kind of boy crazy a little bit in high school, because at that time in my middle school, we only had one boy in the class, and it was 9 of us, and the rest are girls because we were in a very small Catholic school. So because of that, I think because being in the opposite sex type of school and everything, all boys and girls school, combined, integrated, it was just a lot. And just, I know that sounds surreal and just sounds so crazy, but it was true. I was getting used to seeing guys in school again. And it was a lot, but especially the times where I had crushes on guys, genuinely 2 of them, but the rest I'm just I wouldn't know what to do, But it was not like that, but it was just more I have something to get used to, which I know to the opposite, it'd be crazy, but that's just what happened majority of my life. And And don't get me wrong, like, I had guy friends, but it was just more like I was just sheltered. And especially the guys I did like, it took a toll on me, and you know, what any teenage girl would, but it's more of the fact that, like, I put my focus on them a lot, and I put my focus on, you know, how they would think of me, and how this and that, and will they think I'm, you know, all the things, and it was just crazy, and I'm now that I'm past kind of the point about that now, but it's just like, it was what my worth was a low-key little bit based off, and I hate it, but it was true. And it's just, I'm still struggling a little bit, not this, but just like where I put my worth in, but that was part of it back in high school. And now it's been better now in a way that I'm with my current boyfriend, and I've realized over time that my worth should be put in Jesus, not just, oh, I love him. It should be put on God and my own self-worth than just someone else. The other one, which I have to say, was porn. I don't really know how to say this the correct way, but due to me, it's a really long story, but to give in context, I guess I was the type of kid that was lustful with reading smut, where smut is like sex, but like in context, like in text. And because of that, I think I fantasized it way too hard, and me being a reader, it just kind of made it more fantasization in a way, you know what I mean? And so what ended up happening was, it was maybe out of curiosity. I didn't become an addict, but I became curious, and I think at that point it kind of still made me have this way of a journey of it. And because of that, I ended up, you know, watching that, and just questioning a lot of things, and made me have a mindset where it just wasn't distorted, because it was distorted because of that, and it was a lot. And it made me question a lot of things, which in some turns is good, but in a lot of turns it's bad. And I just thought about different people differently because of that, and I wanted more of that, and it was really, really horrible. And after that, is, sorry, it's kind of hard to say, it's masturbation. When I was growing up, I didn't know where it all started and everything like that, but I knew that from a very, very young age, I ended up doing that. And parts of it was because of stress, and because of it felt good, you know? And due to the fact that I'm a very stressful person, and the fact that I kept on, you know, going forward throughout life, it didn't also become a relief, it also became an addiction. And as much as I'm not proud of it, and as much as nobody would be proud of it, and as much as some people accept it, but for me, I didn't accept that within myself. And that's your own thing if you accept that. I'm not trying to bash anybody who does that. That's on you. I'm glad that if you're okay with it, that's good. But for me, I just felt disgusted over myself, and it's still a struggling battle sometimes, but it's just, other than porn, it made me have it in a way that's like I wanted more of that as well, and I just thought about sex differently, and the ways it should be valued, and I'm glad that, you know, in some cases that I never came to the point where I actually did it with someone. It just because of my mindset and everything, it just made me view a lot of things because of the word of sex and everything very, very differently. Not in a way that needs to be purified against people who view it differently in a way that they have done it before. If they have, that's on them, and if that's what they're happy with, go for it. But for me, it just was really like uncomfortable. I still have Zorking to this day, and it's just, I'm trying to heal from it every single day I can. But in that moment, I just couldn't, it was horrible. And in that time period of my high school life so far, because of all those things and then other things, it just made me the person which I'll talk about now with my thing of that is suicide and not knowing where I want to go in life. And I still don't, not the suicide, but like not knowing where to go in life. But you know what I mean? And because of that, of all the things, I kind of realized in my head, like, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? Like, what's the point in all this? And in some cases, people's responses could, of course, be a variety of different things. For me, it was more just like, what's the purpose? And I was running out of ideas and I didn't know what to do. And while I haven't really done the act on it before, I've, in some cases, almost ran away from home, and I've almost did things as well as that. Not running away, but like other things that could be like that. And in that time frame, I just came to a point where it was my senior year, which basically is 12th grade year, the last year of high school. In that first part of it, I just didn't know what to do anymore. And I was getting depressed every single day. I was running into my room crying. And while I was doing everything that I can to stay afloat, and I was keeping up with grades, and while I was happy at that time that I was keeping afloat, in my mind and my inside, I just was dying physically, not physically, mentally. And I just didn't know where I was going through life. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what any of this means. And while I wasn't gonna act on the act, I was thinking about it so hard, to the point where I'm gonna talk about my testimony from start to finish. Because of all this, I ended up going into my room and crying really hard and asking God, like, what is this? And for the first time in my life, I've looked up to God and called him by Lord, and it was a testimony for sure. And because of that, not a testimony, but it was a lot for sure. And once it came about, I ended up, just being like, what is this and everything. And I've heard like a lot of things of like people's testimonies and how they start this, but the most powerful thing that I've heard was that I heard someone say my name. Well, not my name, but my middle name, my nickname that my family gives me, which is Allie, which my middle name comes from Allison. And because of that, I was like, wait, what? Like, what's happening? You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know what was happening, I didn't know what was going on. But because of that, I ended up, just ignoring it and just being like, oh, okay, that's weird. And then an hour's, the day went by, and then my dad, like, kind of just randomly showed me a video of a Saint Faustina video, in which Saint Faustina is, like, one of the saints. And be like, oh, yeah, and then when I thought back, like, oh, isn't that my confirmation saint? And so I kind of thought, oh, that's cool. YouTube, just scrolling around, and I saw this girl who, I don't know how to say this, but like, not this girl, but like this like video of like this really cool like song, and I thought, ooh, that's kind of cool, like it will showcase both Saint Faustina and Jesus. And basically I was like, oh yeah, like why not, I'll make a video edit of it just for fun. And I did, and I love making video edits because that's one of the talents that I have, especially with YouTube. And so I went on it and I did that, and then I just kind of watched it a couple of times, and then I just kind of like looked about and be like, oh, like, you know, and I was feeling the feelings of that video and feeling the love that Jesus had for Faustina. And in turn, it's the type of love that I've always craved for my entire life. And in that moment, I looked up at the ceiling and be like, oh my gosh. And I got transformed because of that. Because of all those emotions. I had a dream where Jesus with, I don't know where I can show it, but Jesus with like a white robe, he came in like this forest area and he had his hand up to me. And it was like basically, I don't really know how to describe it, but it was a quote from one of my favorite book series, which is called The Chronicles of Narnia. And he said something about, like, I think around the lines, it was in the second movie, that I think we need to prove it to him or something like that. I was like, oh, like, why not? Like, we'll not really prove it to him, but in the context, it's like we have to prove our loyalty to Jesus and everything. And because of that, I woke up and I went to school and I thought about that the whole day. And then I ended up praying to God and doing all this. And then for 3 months, I became religious and very, very religious. Basically, in turn of all of this, it changed me as a person. It makes me more. I became a better person because of it. And while it still struggles a lot, I'm trying to be more grounded in genuineness and good. Well, I've always been that way. It's more like still reminding me of the good part. I've learned to be a better woman because of that. Like, you know, woman, like my own, like I'm a woman, you know, and it's just in a way that even Saint Mary, which is Mother of Jesus, she kind of guided me in a way of like becoming that woman and everything like that, and becoming the woman of God I'm meant to be. And it just made me feel in a way that, like, for the first time forever, I felt like a genuine, like, girl. You know what I mean? Like a genuine, you know what I mean? Like, you know, yeah. And then the third is, it lightened my heart, and it's still, you know, I'm still in the waves of positivity in my outlook in life. But because of God, it made me know that there's something out there, but also it made me know that heaven is the road to life, or the road, the end goal to life, you know. And then fifth is just being thankful. And of course, I still struggle with this every single day, just like I told with all the things I've struggled with, but just being thankful that God saved me. And in turn, I just hope to save someone too with this video. Anyways, yeah, that was my testimony story, and I hope I didn't make this all over the place. But overall, I just hope you all learn from this and everything like that. But, you know, and I hope that in turn, God will be the love of your life just as much as He is mine.